Welcome into the Dynasty review for the Indianapolis Colts. We are getting close to the teams that made the playoffs. I think we have three more teams for teams that didn't make the playoffs. Colts, one of them, almost did. They were finished 9-8. Had a pretty good season considering their quarterback got knocked out. And we just looked at it. Only played 2 full games this year. Brian, Colts, how do you feeling about the Colts in 2023 and beyond in 2024 and 5 and all that?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see Anthony Richardson. I'm just assuming health for everybody. That'll be interesting to see him with Jonathan Taylor, which we didn't get to see this year, and Michael Pittman, just to see how the complete team operates. It seems like they could be better if they keep their guys healthy. So it could be a sneaky team to put some money on to win the Super Bowl next year. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I wonder what their odds are. I wonder if they're better or worse than the Raiders, but
I don't know if they go plus 10,000. Maybe they do. I don't know.
I bet you they do. If you look up the Panthers or something and see what they are. But yeah, this 9-8. Shane Steichen, rookie head coach. Philly came from Philly, offensive coordinator. They obviously felt the loss of him. Of both their coordinators, and Shane Steichen did a good job this year with Gardner Minshew basically the entire year. This team has a lot of cap space, $66 million, fifth most. Not a whole lot of draft picks. I think they just have all their draft picks 1 through 7, so the normal amount. So they have the 15th pick, the 46th pick, the 82nd pick in the 3rd round. In terms of free agents, we have Gardner Minshew is a free agent, so I'll be interested. I assume I really don't know how people are going to view him. Are they going to view him as pay him starter money? Are they going to pay him hey, you're maybe the best backup in the NFL. We're going to pay you like that or something. I don't know how people are going to view that. Zach Moss, another guy who was big in fantasy football, especially the first 6-7 weeks or so. Michael Pittman. So some big names as free agents that they got to figure out, but they do have the cap space. So we can kick it off with Anthony Richardson, and currently listed as the QB8 according to Keep Trade Cut. He's in the tier with Jordan Love. So you have the top 4, Allen, Mahomes, Stroud, Lamar in one tier, and then you have Burrow, Herbert, Hurts in another tier. And now Richardson and Jordan Love. Is that fair for Richardson, Brian? Do you think he should be lower? Do you think he should be higher? Or kind of just right?
Yeah, I think he's kind of right in there where he belongs. It's like a total upside play, right? It's I definitely think, him and Jordan Love are kind of I can see that. I think it's kind of hard to pick between those two, which one you'd rather have. It's Jordan Love's probably the safer play, and Anthony Richardson's the ceiling play. But yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to see what he does this year. That's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think the upside play is Richardson there. It's why you took Richardson over Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, which a lot of people did. It's because of the upside, right? You can get the safeness of Bryce Young or Stroud, or you can get a upside play for Richardson. So, we've seen his potential. Like we said, he only played in 4 games, only completed basically 2, but we saw the upside of him. One of the games where he played 32% of the snaps. In week 2, he had 17.7 points. He played 30% of the snaps. That's the potential of him. So, I think he's kind of just right. I would lean him over Love just for upside. So, But yeah, I agree with you. Like Love's a little bit safer at this point. Um, Minshew, like obviously you're holding on to him, but like, do you think a team brings him in to compete for the starting job? Is he just going to be like a high end backup or kind of a bridge quarterback for a few games, or is he ever going to be a starter? And can we, is he like the perfect like QB 3 or 4 for your team? Obviously not a QB 2.
Yeah, I think. Oh, just real quick on Richardson, he is valued slightly under the 102 this year, so that's kind of interesting. It's like, yeah, he didn't lose any value or anything. Basically, obviously a different draft and everything, but yeah, Minshew. Yeah, definitely worth holding. I'm not so sure about being a starter, but yeah, he obviously played well enough to like. Yeah, it will be kind of interesting. Did you say he's a free agent? He is.
He is a free agent, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think he played up to like starter level, definitely. But yeah, definitely. Like he's shown like what we saw before with him. Like he's definitely capable of running a team, but I don't know if he's anyone's solution at quarterback by any stretch. But yeah, I think definitely got to hold him because who knows how long Anthony Richardson's going to play, or how long this next season. I mean, like he's gonna be always a possibility that he can get hurt, given his style of play. So I don't mind the idea of trading for Gardner Minshew if you have Richardson, honestly, but it might be a little early for that. It might be, I don't really see his value changing. So even if he does stay with the Colts, you might want to wait for that just to see. But yeah, I can totally see like handcuffing Richardson with Minshew if he stays.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem is you can't do that now. I mean, you can do it, whatever, but you don't know if you're handcuffing him because he is a free agent. But
yeah,
when he took over week 6 on, he was the QB 17. That's just kind of what he is. Like he's going to be a fine QB 2 if he's the starter. I don't know if ideally you want someone a little bit better with more upside, but if he's your QB 3 or something and he's the starter, like that's perfectly fine. So yeah, I'd be interested to see what he gets paid because our team's going to overreact. Like, look at all the quarterback injuries. We need a good backup quarterback. I think, they proved how valuable a backup quarterback is. They almost made the playoffs with them. So, yeah, our team's going to overreact to that and overpay even backup quarterbacks now. It's possible, I guess. But he's definitely one of the ones I want in terms of backups. So, and then Sam Ellinger, I think it's Ellinger, is still there, but nothing to talk about there. Jonathan Taylor, not a whole lot to talk about. I don't think he's really lost. Yeah, he's only dropped down to the RB5. So, despite the contract stuff and, kind of a weird year, I'd say. Like he wasn't the JT of old now that we were expecting, right? Like he finished RB 14 still. That's a little surprising, actually. That's standard. RB 16, but still, I mean, he missed. Damn, is that right? He missed 8 games and he was RB 16.
I see him as 33.
That's weird. What am I looking at? Oh, I'm looking at from week 6 on. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, RB 33. Okay. But from week 6 on, from when he came back, he was still a top 15 guy or 16, whatever.
Yeah, that's really good because like you said, he missed 3 games in there too. So, so in 8 games, basically.
Yeah.
And a bye week.
And a bye week, yeah.
Yeah. So 16 on minus 4 games.
And what was it like? His 3rd week back is when he really started to get the majority of snaps. Maybe his 4th week, where he wasn't like splitting.
Yeah, he was 50-50 in week 7, which was his 3rd week back.
Okay.
But he did have 18 carries and 4 targets in that game.
Mm.
So, yeah. But, wait, did I say week 7? Yeah. It's kind of crazy because Moss had 18 carries and 2 targets in that game also.
Yeah, they had a couple games where they were running the hell out of him. So,
yeah.
Yeah, people aren't overreacting. I think he's properly rated. Like Bijan, Brees, if you want to put Jahmyr Gibbs above Jonathan Taylor, it's fine. McCaffrey, it's hard to argue him not above Jonathan Taylor, even if McCaffrey only has like 1 more or 2 more years. I still think he should be ranked. So I don't know. Is there any argument with RB5 in your opinion, or is that kind of right where you'd put him?
No, it feels about right. Yeah, like I can't. Yeah, it's hard to argue anyone that's in front of him. Yeah, like the contract definitely like really helps. It was a 4-year contract, right? But I know 4-year contracts never actually are 4 years, but
yeah, I think it was.
I think it was too. Yeah, but yeah, he's still young. We've seen upside from him before, finishing as the overall number 1 guy. I remember that was the lowest number 1 finish when he actually finished as number 1 back in 21. But that just shows you, like, when he's healthy, he's running back 5 overall, or not overall, just running back 5 in his rookie year. So yeah, it's as long as he's healthy, he's going to be good. Very involved in the offense, and they throw him the ball. Not a ton, but we'll have to see. It's really hard to say, like, because we don't know the quarterback situation.
Yeah, or we don't know how he's going to play with.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, like we don't know what Richardson's tendencies are going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's going to be on the Colts the next 2 years. So if they want to get out of it in 2026, they can. So nothing to worry about there. Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see, like, does it, it did make a video, I think, in the offseason about, like, rushing quarterbacks and are they actually better for running backs or not? And it seemed like you couldn't get it was very rare to get, like, the top 5 or 6 running back finish with guys who are rushing for, like, 700 yards or more, especially guys like Anthony Richardson, who we assume are going to get a lot of touchdowns as well. So maybe they protect him a little bit and they don't do that. So I think there is a little bit of a ceiling cap on JT, potentially. Like, can he be the number 1 overall running back? I don't think so with Richardson, but he could still be really good, obviously. So, yeah, valuable asset.
I think it's kind of interesting. He had 900 total yards and 8 touchdowns in 10 games. And we just said, like, at 3 of those games, he was only playing half the snaps or less. So that's kind of interesting to look at.
Yeah, you did a lot better than I guess I thought. I didn't really have Jonathan Taylor on any teams, so I don't know if I followed it as closely as that. But yeah, I was a little surprised to see, like, RB 16 from, even though he missed 3 games from week 6 on or whatever. So a bye week. Yeah, definitely. Zach Moss, he's 26 years old. This will be his 26-year-old season coming up. So still young enough, but we didn't ever see him do anything until this stretch with the Colts. And he was really damn good. Like, what was he, a top 5 running back when the first 6 weeks or so?
Yeah, probably.
Is that ever going to be captured again? Are we ever going to see that again? Or is that probably just like, no, it was nice what happened, and that's about it for Zach Moss. He kind of fades into, fantasy irrelevancy.
Yeah, it totally could be, but it is interesting that they obviously trusted him to be the guy. They were obviously running the ball like a decent amount because, Gardner Minshew, so they were kind of trying to keep, not necessarily make him like the dude to win, and he definitely surprised us, but yeah, the time to sell him was in season for sure. But, it's kind of hard to do that week, 2 or whatever, Because you're kind of like, well, like I guess I'm out of it. It's like no one really thinks that in week 2, unless you're like in a hard rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
So when he was relevant, it was hard to get rid of him because you're like, oh, it's like you found like a $100 bill kind of a thing on the street.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't know. I think he's still valuable to somebody. I think actually 2 days ago, Roto Baller update on Sleeper says he's interested in rejoining the Colts. It's like, I'm sure you are.
Yeah. Yeah, and that wouldn't be a terrible thing. I mean, it's interesting though, because so he obviously shot up from basically after the first couple weeks of the season up to RB40. He hasn't really, like, the highest he got during the season was RB36. He hasn't fallen that far. He's RB49. I mean, that's pretty significant, but like most of the year he was more like RB40 rather than RB36. So he's fallen a bit, but not a crazy amount. But yeah, I don't think it's like, what if he goes to the Chargers? Like, what if don't trade him away now. Like, what if he goes to a team that needs a running back that's going to run the ball a lot now with Harbaugh? Like, what if he goes somewhere there, or another place that he goes to where he gets an opportunity? So, yeah, I think don't sell him now. The time was during the season, but if you didn't do that, just kind of hopefully hold on and he tags along somewhere. So.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it would be nice if he just stayed with the Colts. I think that would be the best for his value. I don't think it'll change very much, but you should try and acquire him if you're the Jonathan Taylor manager, if he does stay with the Colts. I think that's not a bad strategy. Handcuffing a high-end RB1, with a guy that we saw was good for them, and they obviously trust him enough. So,
yeah, I don't know. I think there's other places he could go better for his value than like I said, like if he goes to the Chargers or the Ravens or something like that. Like, we'd be excited about him again, like potentially being at least 50-50 or better. Like, I don't think he's going to get to 50-50 with Jonathan Taylor there, I guess. So,
sorry, I looked up the. I'll save this for the end, anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, go. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like if he goes somewhere else, but I wouldn't mind him just staying on the Colts and then try and get a 3rd round pick from the Jonathan Taylor manager, and then you should be happy with that kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, Trace Sermon seems to be the next in line, so maybe just kind of hold him if you can for now, if you have him. Like if he's the RB2, right? Tyler Goodson, Xavier Scott, Evan Hull's a rookie. I think he got hurt. Didn't really play much. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not super excited about any of those other guys, to be honest. But I would hold potentially Sermon, as he could be the RB2.
Okay, I have something to say.
Yeah,
Evan Hull is next year's Kyron Williams.
So is it Jonathan Taylor getting hurt?
Yes, in this scenario. I don't want this to happen. I'm just saying. 5th round pick, rookie, gets hurt, almost immediately. Could have been the guy, who knows? Just like a huge like dart throw. Like, I just saw that he had 1 rush attempt for 1 yard, and he had 1 target and 1 catch for 6 yards. So it's like, all right, what's that 16 game pace in 11% of the snaps?
He's kind of profiled as like a pass catcher. Like, he caught 55 passes his last year in college, which is crazy for a running back to do. So along with 220 carries. So yeah, he does profile more as like a pass catcher. So I guess that's where my I guess a little bit of hesitancy comes from. But sure, if you want to stash Evan Hull for one more offseason, that's fine. Michael Pittman is a free agent. I'm curious to see how you feel about him, because I'm pretty high on him. Like, I think he's closer to a top 12 wide receiver than he is where he's ranked, like more of a low end to mid to low end or wide receiver 2. I don't think people value him as like a top 12 guy. The dude's been really good. He gets a lot of targets, a lot of volume. Is it just people are worried about him and Richardson together, or why is he not maybe a bit higher? Because I think he probably should be.
I think it's partially related to, like the Richardson question. But I don't even know if that's much of a question. Like, like we saw Richardson in those 2 games, and like it was, one good game and one bad game. It's like it's such a small sample size, like you can't draw anything from that. But it's not like he was a huge part of the offense in throughout the year, but even in week 1 with Richardson to start the season, which was one of his complete games. So yeah, he's a target hog. Targets are earned. He did only finish as number wide receiver 15, but I think he's like definitely trended in the right direction. Like, even though it's been kind of like flat, but like he is what he is. Like, I think he's gonna be the dude. But I guess I don't think he's not a sexy like name or anything like that. Like, you definitely appreciated him on your team this year, so I feel like not too many people were expecting, or maybe I think like he kind of flew under a lot of people's radar.
Yeah, I just like Pittman a lot, and there's the off chance that he doesn't go back to the Colts, and what if he goes to a really good situation? Like what if he gets onto the Chiefs or something? We always mention the Chiefs, but like what if he gets there and he's Patrick Mahomes' main guy? Like, telling me he won't go up. I guess he could go somewhere where he could potentially go down, but I don't know if he's going to really go anywhere that people are going to be less enthused. Because I think people have this mindset of like Richardson, running quarterback, they're not going to throw a lot, blah, 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 So, we saw like the Eagles in 2022. What was it? Both AJ Brown and Devontae Smith were like top 12 receivers, and I'm pretty sure they were pretty low in pass attempts per game. It just was all funneled between those 2 guys. So, the Eagles were that year 21st. No, that was this year. The Eagles were 24th in 2022 in pass attempts per game. So, those read RPOs, the read pass option, we talked about it before. That basically means if, the offensive line's blocking to run, and when they do that, they think it's a run play. And so they're going to get downfield. And so you have to throw the ball right away, or else you get an offensive illegal man down the field. So illegal downfield pass, an eligible downfield pass, or whatever the proper term is. But anyways, it means you have your target in mind, essentially. So I just feel like Michael Pittman's still going to be what he's kind of been the last couple of years, of like 130 targets. He had 156 his last year, 130 plus targets, close to 100 catches or more, 11, 1,200 yards. And hopefully he gets a little bit positive touchdown regression, because he's only had 8 in the last 2 years, 4 of each of the last 2 years. So
we definitely haven't seen a ton of competition in the rookie Josh Downs or second year Alec Pierce. But again, like, it's all speculation, because Richardson, man, we need to see what he's gonna do. Like, I know. I totally agree with what you're saying about Pittman, though. Like, I think he's going to be that first read. And he's going to dominate targets. The running quarterbacks, obviously they'll throw the ball, like you can't just run it every time, I mean, look at DJ Moore this season with Zach Moss, or what Zach Moss. I'm like reading as I'm talking. With Justin Fields, it's like 140 targets, 100 catches. So there we go.
I offered in our Dynasty League the 109 for Michael Pittman. So of course the manager that has him doesn't really do trades ever. I think I also threw in like a another piece, like some receiver, that maybe can hit. But I think that's relatively fair. Maybe slight edge to the Michael Pittman side, but I think that's kind of what he's worth, like that, right around that 108, 109 first round pick. So I'd happily trade that away in any league.
Who in front of him would you put him up? Would you put him over DJ Moore?
Let me put this up. Probably not DJ Moore.
About Rice.
I would definitely bring Rice down. I would bring Drake London down. I'd probably put Pittman over Addison, if I'm being honest, assuming he goes back to the Colts. So what's that? With 3 names that I said?
Yeah.
What about Tank?
Yeah. It's like, what about Nico?
Those are always tough because, like, I would definitely put him over one of those guys.
Nico or Tank, you mean?
Yeah, I just don't know who yet, to be honest. Probably Tank, and probably have Nico over Tank. But they could also bring in someone else because Nico's going into his final year, so they could do like a thing where they draft a need a year earlier than when they need it, so they can kind of prepare for it in a way. So there could be like a third wide receiver on there that kind of muddies the waters a little bit. But as of now, I'd probably put him over Tank, but not Nico. Yeah, that's probably where I'd stop. So what's that, 4? So yeah, top 5. I think you should be closer to like top 15, 14-ish rather than, top 20.
Okay.
I don't know if you disagree with all that.
No, I not necessarily. I think it's kind of spot on. Like, you're betting on talent that we've seen like more consistently.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously these other guys that we're talking about are either rookies or Nico's playing with the best. He's not playing with Davis Mills anymore. So yeah, I think that's all fair. I like Pittman where he is, basically, to right around like where you said.
Yeah, and those I bet you if you look the last couple of years, how many guys are getting 140 targets or more. It's a very short list, I'd say. So that's Michael Pittman. Josh Downs, I don't know how, like, in a standard 10 or 12 team, starting 10, half PPR, like, I just don't know how valuable Josh Downs is going to be. Now, he was a rookie, flashed, and then, didn't really build upon that. But I don't know what to say about Josh Downs. Like, he's a nice dart throw wide receiver to have, but I don't expect him to become like a pretty significant fantasy player.
Yeah, isn't he? He's the fast one, right? On the team.
He's kind of like the slot guy.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of Pierce then. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I mean, Pierce.
I didn't watch a lot of the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, Pierce is like more of the downfield guy. I think he is a low 4.4 speed guy. But yeah, Downs is more like their slot guy.
Yeah, so maybe Alec Pierce is a little more interesting since Richardson's got that huge arm, but obviously we want to see some accuracy improvement while he has this off season to improve on that.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. Sorry, I was going to say I don't know how much you can really do during the off season, though. It's nothing like playing real games. You need starts to really hone that in, but they can at least work on their timing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Downs is wide receiver 34. I don't know what pick value that is essentially, but players Montgomery, Romeo Dobbs, Levis, Amari Cooper. Like, I'd take Amari Cooper or Christian Kirk in a heartbeat over Josh Downs. There's right around.
They're saying he's early second. They're saying Josh Downs and Stephon Diggs are like close. I'm like, what?
No, I'll take Diggs.
Yeah.
I'll take Diggs. Even if Diggs is washed, I'll take the shot on like Diggs not being washed.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'd take an early second over Josh Downs, to be honest. So, yeah, I mean, he could develop. I know there's some hype, but again, like if we're knocking Michael Pittman down because of Richardson, like they're definitely not going to be supporting. They're probably not going to be supporting two receivers, two top 24 guys. That is. So, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else to say about Downs.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Alec Pierce to me is like in a lineup non-best ball is kind of a roster clogger at this point. Like, just don't think he's gonna. Maybe he is that deep threat, but you got to do a little bit more than just be a deep threat. I just don't think he's gonna be a start-worthy guy. So I don't know if you have something different on Alec Pierce.
No, not really. Maybe better. I don't know. I think he's an all right, like end of the roster type of guy, just to see what happens with the big question mark behind Anthony Richardson. Like these young quarterbacks it's always kind of interesting to see them actually on the field and like their style of play. It's like maybe a deep threat guy like Pierce does become relevant. Like maybe he's like Tyler Lockett back in the day when they still had like Baldwin on the Seahawks, where it seemed like his stat line every week was like 4 targets, 3 catches, 70 yards, and then like a touchdown every other week.
Yeah, it's possible for sure. But yeah, we're talking about the wide receiver 3 on the Colts, who are already expecting kind of a low passing volume. So just, it's, also going into his 3rd year and hasn't done a whole lot. So still a 2nd round pick, though. Same with Downs. Maybe Downs is a 3rd round pick. I don't remember. But the crazy tight end room, like this team with their tight ends, like Kylan Granson was probably the best this year. Mo Alley Cox has done some things. Drew Ogletree and Jelani Woods were kind of like the 2 guys people were most excited about there a year or so ago. I don't really care about any of these guys, to be honest.
No, definitely not. Like it's always been a carousel there. Like no one guy dominates and plays. Like, we wanted it to be Mo Alley Cox a few years ago, and there's just there's nothing to talk about here. Just the way they use them all, kind of a thing,
Yeah. Jelani Woods is the highest ranked one on Keep Trade Cut, which is funny because he's caught 25 balls in his career. I think he missed all of last year. Yeah, he didn't play last year. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him, to be honest. But yeah, I don't want to.
It's kind of funny that Gerald Everett, who just tore was it Achilles or ACL?
Gerald Everett?
Gerald Everett, yeah.
No, he didn't tear anything.
No. Who am I thinking of? Well, anyway, I guess I was going to say
Hawkinson.
No, it wasn't him.
Maybe he did get a ACL. I don't know. I know he got I didn't follow. I know he left the Kansas City game with an injury. So maybe it was an ACL.
Yeah, I don't know. It just says a knee injury. So I don't know. I thought it was like something crazier. But anyways, he's ranked the same as Jelani Woods. Like,
yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, whatever. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, there's nothing to talk about. So any last words with the Colts?
So I did look up their Super Bowl odds. Okay. They have better odds than who did we look up? Oh, the Raiders. Remember the Raiders were plus 10,000. The Colts are plus 4,000. So better in terms of for Vegas. Like they have better odds of actually making it. And you were right. The Carolina Panthers were the one to look up because they are plus 20,000 to win the Super Bowl in 2025. So and then the Titans are plus 15,000. So it's basically, and then everything else is plus 10,000 or above. So there you go.
So if I'm doing math right, if I put $5 on the Panthers to win the Super Bowl, I win 1,000.
Yeah.
All right. Oh. All right. No, I'm not throwing away $5.
Yeah. I know, it's like I'd rather have 2 tacos than bet that.
Yeah.
Like.
So are they the lowest then? Panthers at 20,000.
Yeah, easily.
Okay. Yeah, that's bad. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there. We'll be back with the Seattle Seahawks next. As always, like and subscribe. We will catch you guys next time.